Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you are, and welcome to NerdTube. And I just want to say to you and my guest, Wakanda Forever, baby.
I dropped my mic.
Yeah, yeah, of course, of course. This is our Black Panther Wakanda Forever debate review. I just want to welcome Ginger Greek. How you doing, mate?
I am very good, sir. I'm very good. And me and Zamo had the pleasure of going to the cinema together and watching it.
Yes. We both, I just want to say before we start talking about this film, we thoroughly enjoyed it. For us, this is arguably the best film in Phase 4 alongside Spider Man No Way Home. It is a coin toss. We do like them both. But this film was definitely the icing of a cake of a very, very controversial phase in Phase 4, probably the worst phase so far. But it did end with a bang. And there's a lot to talk about. This film is 2 hours 40 minutes long. So if you do go to the cinema to watch it, make sure you're taking your pee break. Make sure you got a couple of snacks because you're going to be sitting there for a long time. And also, like us, make sure you get a couple of comfortable seats. Thank you, Penny. You did the right move getting those seats. They were absolutely fucking ideal. I felt like
they
I
were
was at home
lovely.
watching it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
man. Nice reclining seats. Thank you, Odeon Cinema. £7 a ticket as well because we didn't go watch it on Friday. So
yeah.
it was cheap, very comfortable, and just a little bit dark. The screen was. That's my biggest complaint.
Yeah, if I'm going to make some complaints about this film, I don't know whether it was the filming itself or just the cinema we're in.
It's a cinema
But both,
because I've seen
oh,
those same clips again online, and they're not as
yeah,
dark.
yeah, because I felt like I was watching a bloody pirate copy.
Yeah,
It was so fucking dark. I thought, shit, I was better off pirating this than fucking
yeah,
watching it the way it is. But overall, an excellent film and a fantastic, by the way, this is the beginning of this movie, a fantastic tribute to to Boseman because we got it in various ways, not just at the beginning of the film, the end of the movie too, but just seeing his name in those Marvel stills that you get in every film was fantastic, and it's just another reminder because it did almost feel like yesterday when myself and cousin Cheeto we found out that Chadwick Boseman had died, and we were all wondering what the hell was going to go on because people were talking about who's going to take on the mantle. Are they going to recast? What they're going to do about Black Panther 2, the Avengers, all of that sort of stuff. He was supposed to be the new leader after the reshuffle with the roster and all of that, with so many people dying and retiring. But Ryan Coogler, hats off to him because he did actually have the original Black Panther 2 script ready made with Chadwick Boseman in mind. But in a short space of time to create this, and obviously this was a labor of love, phenomenal. I mean, just to have a recreated script. And one of the things I did genuinely like about this movie, Ginge, was the fact that the supporting cast came to the forefront. They all had to
yes,
step up. They all had to step up. All these characters, that were bouncing off Black Panther, bouncing off T'Challa, were now the main players of this game, and they were fantastic. Emotional performances, very rarely humorous, but obviously it's a Marvel film. You're always going to have those moments of humor, but still, they timed it right. They never overdid it. Powerhouse performances from people like Angela Bassett, who was fantastic as well. Lolita Wright, stepping up as well in this. And by the way, this is full on spoilers in case people don't know, but stepping up and taking on the mantle of her character brother and becoming the new Black Panther. Just everything. I mean,
yeah. I mean, like, sorry to
no,
interject here,
no,
but I
yeah,
had
please do.
one of my biggest fears was like Letitia Wright was going to derail the film, not because of all the rumors that were spoiling out related to like her anti-vax stance. I don't care. That's a personal choice. That's fine. But what I mean is like she was a little bit bad. She was badly written in the first film. Like I found her too American in the first film, and but in this one, oh my God, was she good? Like when I say she was good, it's not that she carried the film, but she carried the weight of the situation. It's such a breathtaking performance. Like it doesn't get away from her. Like what she like feels like she failed to do because she's such a like a tech head and that, and she couldn't save her brother, but she carries that throughout the whole film. That rage, that loss. Angela Bassett as the Queen. Oh, fuck me, man! I've said it to Zam after the end of the film. I said, in terms of actor performances, Black Panther 2 uh, is the best. It's the best actor
Mm-mm.
performances in an MCU film, because if you strip away all the comic book stuff, what you're dealing with here is a film about loss, about rebuilding, about finding yourself. And out, if this was just a character piece about a mother and daughter losing their son or brother and rebuilding their life after that, people would be talking like, "Oh my god, Oscar buzz, what great!" But because this is wrapped in a comic book film, it might get overshadowed, and I don't think that's very fair, given the performances by everyone. Even M'Baku was amazing as this. He doesn't
Yeah.
do like a lot, but he does enough to be this kind of the wise old man in this. And Okoye as is just like mind blowing when she
Yeah.
loses everything. And honestly, like if you go and see this film, you go and see it just for the performances alone. Everything else is a bonus. Am I wrong?
No, you're not wrong at all. Like this film is led by several very strong female characters, and they all knock it out the park in various ways. There's an emotional baggage, and you can feel that the real life baggage of Chadwick Boseman dying has been seeped into the performances of these
Absolutely.
characters, of these actresses playing these characters, and using real life trauma to give these very realistic feels. I mean, the moment this movie began, like it started off with the death of T'Challa, and we never even found out why he died and what killed him. You know, and I think
Yeah.
that's a good thing in a way, because like they don't want to get into too much depth into all of that. The fact is that unfortunately in life, people, even superheroes, they people can die unexpectedly. It does happen. And you felt the trauma for this family who've, someone like T'Challa who did die because of the snap, and then has now properly died. He comes back just to die again. It must be horrendous, for the mother. And at some point in the film, she thought she lost everybody. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And so it was like I said, the performances of Bassett was really good. The
And
pain
the
of
thing is,
Okoye, yeah,
sorry, like
yeah.
again, I know we bang on about this, but in this review, we are here talking about these amazing performances and how nothing was like. If you take away some of the tech kind of conveniences and all of that, in terms of performances, we don't. There's no eye rolling moments in this. Like, oh god, this is so on the nose. Here, you're just like sitting there. Like, I got emotional watching this film. I just thought it was such, just a great masterpiece, and it's so nice that it does justice to a film led predominantly by women, that it gives off these performances where every single character has high stakes. You're with them through the highs and the lows of their journey. It's not just I'll overcome just because lazy writing. No, you feel every little thing here. Ryan Coogler, they just done such a great job. Like if his first film was like, Star Wars, this is like his Empire Strikes Back times two. It just in terms of the departure from the first film being good but generic to this one being just out of this world. And we haven't even started talking about like the plot itself. We're here still talking about the performances. And another good performance I found, who played a great villain, was Namor. I found him like really like just a no fucks given kind of king. He's just like, look, that my only redeeming quality is that I'll protect my people at all costs, and I don't give a shit who gets in my way. And I thought his portrayal was spectacular. It was very menacing. It was very noble and menacing at the same time. I don't know how you felt about
Well, I'm
Namor.
glad you brought up Nemo, because this is now the second time that Black Panther have had arguably the best villain in the MCU. Everyone was raving about Killmonger. He was very good. and now we have it in Namor. It is a bit sort of like, to a degree, generic in the sense that I want to take over and destroy the world or rule the world or something like that, to a degree, which is what he wanted to do, like to kill all the surface dwellers and stuff like that. You know, we do understand his
Yes.
reasonings. We do understand his reasonings behind it, but him and his people, the ones that followed him, felt like a threat. And I also want to add that the underwater scenes we get with Namor and his people and his city and all of that, far better than what we saw in Aquaman. In Aquaman, it felt like fucking SpongeBob SquarePants.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It really did. Like, are we underwater? It doesn't feel like we're underwater. This felt like we were underwater, but it was in water. You know what I mean? It felt like it was in water the whole fucking time. You know what I mean? It wasn't trying to blur that, have that sort of blur, or blurring the lines of like of being underwater but not. This was a far better attempt, and I yeah, it was just fantastic. Maybe I would like to see more of that city. I did like the fact that when we saw them play that sport where they put the ball through the
The
hole in the
old
wall.
Mayan sport that they
Yeah,
used to
yeah,
play.
the earliest versions of football,
Yeah.
and the captain would get decapitated, I believe, if the team lost, or something like, yeah, or
Um,
something like that.
something like that. Or I can't remember if the winners were the ones that were sacrificed as honor or something. I can't remember.
Well, who the
Hey,
fuck would want
Derpy
to win
five hundred
then?
one, how are you?
Hello, Derpy 501. Hey, fellas. I was hoping if you've seen the movie Derpy, but we are going to be doing spoilers. Let us know what you think of the film if you've seen it. But yeah, he was a good character. I couldn't really understand the people themselves because they were wearing those masks over their faces, but at times they were taking them off. Like when they were doing the serenading, the singing, of all those sailors. I mean, personally, don't even to attack anyone. Just get like your head out of water, start fucking singing, and that's it. You drowned everybody,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah, but I
uh,
mean, they
yeah.
took their mask off because they could breathe through their necks. Their necks were still underwater where the gills were,
Ah,
so
uh-huh,
that's why
uh-huh.
they were able to take them off. Um, yeah, but yeah, I mean, again, like what I find funny with the Talokans, as they're called in this one, is everything derives from Greek mythology, but is placed within the Aztec world. And again, I get why they did it. They didn't want to be compared to Aquaman, because Aquaman did really, really well at the box office as well. So if it had just disappeared and been a flop, they could have easily gone down that route and still gone with Atlanta, because Aquaman would have been like an afterthought. But because it was so successful, they wanted to distance themselves from that, because again, the Aquaman and Namor are carbon copies of each other in the comic books. That they follow the same kind of the same origins, the same kind of storylines. Only in this one, they took Aquaman's weakness and put it in Namor, which I found quite funny.
Like being dry and stuff like that.
Yeah, because Aquaman can't be out of water for too long. Whereas in Namor, it doesn't matter. He's a fucking mutant, so he can be out of water forever. But in this one, they kind of changed it around. But so in that regard, you can accept the kind of changes that they made here. It was like, okay, fine. Usually, I'm a stickler for no. I want fucking characters to be of their origins, but in this one, I can get why they did it. But I forgot what I was talking about now. I think I was just talking about the changes they made for Namor.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah. No, I mean, I went in there not knowing anything about that particular character, so I was just happy to get what we were getting. The fact that they are also a city that has vibranium was a new thing, and
Yeah. It destroyed. It kind of destroyed the history of Wakanda, because I think Okoye touches on that as well. Because everything I knew about our people has been destroyed, knowing that there's another vibranium strong nation there. But it could happen. And where that vibranium lands, it could be the vibranium that wiped out the dinosaurs as well, or the meteor that kind of wiped out the dinosaurs. So that's a kind of interesting little like nod to history there, if it is the same thing. But then it begs the kind of question of the origins of vibranium. is it like in the comic books, where it was sent down like, oh god, I don't even
Well,
remember now. The Celestials. I think the Celestials kind of sent the vibranium down on Earth, but again, comic books is always convoluted and out of it.
well, they did mention that there could have been more than one meteorite of vibranium that landed on Earth.
Yeah,
So, but the lowdown. I like how they turn blue out of the water. Yeah, so they are who they look like when they're in the water, and they turn blue when they're out of the water. And Derpy 501 ST or 501st, my bad. Only complaints was cringe dialogue. It drags a bit at the end of the film for a while, and some unfinished green screen errors. That's about it for my complaints. I did think some of the special effects was far better than the previous film, and he also adds that Coogler did very well for the situation. Recasting T'Challa wouldn't have worked for what this film stands for, being a legacy and tribute to the character. But I would want to add that what they did though was very smart by adding in T'Challa's son, who could, and also calling him T'Challa as well, and that's the end of the end credit scenes.
yeah.
So
Which
sorry,
also
go.
it depending on when they bring the X-Men in, you could also set up that T'Challa getting with Storm. If
Yeah,
these X-Men don't come in until much later, so you kind of tweak the origins there. Otherwise, it's just a completely different, um, you
and
know.
and with Kang coming into play in the future, going all reverse Flash on us, he could easily manipulate time, manipulate the universes, and before you know it, he's fucking grown up. Yeah, I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly,
yeah,
exactly.
in
There's
some
so many
sort of
ways they could
capacity.
put. Yeah, they, they
Yeah,
they could kind of play with this. But to Derpy 501's thing about some of the dialogue being cringe. Yeah, I agree with that. When some of the times, some bits where they tried to do comedy kind of fell flat. Other times they did it really well. But I get what you mean with some of the dialogue. But most of like all the heartfelt stuff was like impeccable. But also we obviously, so again, I'm sure people that have come in here know the show, so we don't need to go into all the details. But we also have a fantastic nod to towards like we have the UN summit that they all attend, and we get a nice little nod from Wakanda about American and kind of French colonialism and their intentions with vibranium, and basically they get lectured to say you're not ready, you're not mature enough to be given the vibranium because we know what you're like, we know your history. And again, at the beginning of the film, you see French soldiers raiding a base trying to steal vibranium. So Wakanda is, aware of. It's a nice nod to what's happening to the real world, which is all over the fucking world, which is France, the United States, and Britain, who didn't get mentioned in this one, which I found funny, going around stealing other countries' resources. And I think that was very important to kind of mention that in this, and also it being Namor's driving force behind the films that I saw what colonizers did to my people. I won't let it happen again now that they could track the vibranium.
yep.
But
They went after the Spanish as well. I mean, yeah, they targeted everyone, all the colonizers except for the Brits.
yeah, yeah, exactly. They went after the Spanish as well, and it was very important to do that. Like, don't pull any punches. Like, always. I know they kind of did it in the first one, but here, it's within direct confrontation with these countries, and it's probably going to set up like future wars against Wakanda and all this kind of stuff as the United States tries to bring freedom to Wakanda. Which is very much telling of real life, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
I did like that, and General Ross, not General Ross, Agent Ross was great in this. Martin Freeman's always great. He wasn't in it for much, but the little that he did was cool.
Well, I like the
Val,
fact they kept. I like
sorry,
the
go
fact
on.
they kept. I like the fact that on several occasions, even though he's on their side and he's the closest thing they got to an ally outside of Wakanda, they kept calling him colonizer. They're taking the piss out of him. You
Yeah,
know what I mean?
brilliant.
So yeah. Derpy 501 Street, 501st. I keep thinking 501 Street for some reason.
Just call
Uh,
him Derpy 501.
yeah.
Yeah.
As DC fan that supports Aquaman as character name was basically him, but far better written and kind of creepy and scary when first introduced on screen. I got goosebumps. Yeah, I mean
Yeah.
he
Brilliant.
should be
Yeah.
like they mentioned the fact that he was almost as strong as the Hulk. I mean, honestly, like Aquaman is basically fucking a rocker underwater. You know what I mean? You can imagine with a heavy metal band fucking playing air guitar. Uh,
Yeah.
in the Pacific. So
Yeah.
um,
Absolutely. Uh,
yeah. So
yeah. With distinct creators like Coogler, Gunn, Raimi, Zhao, and Waititi gone, is the MCU going to become cookie cutter? Why is Coogler not coming back again?
Coogler, wow, man! Look, myself and Ginger mentioned that someone like Ryan Coogler, he for me, he is the successor to oh God, what's his name now? Why does his name escape me?
Feige.
Uh, to Kevin Feige, if Feige ever decides to step down or needs somebody to work alongside him, Coogler he just knows his shit, man.
Yeah,
He
he
really
does.
does.
He does. Like if
But
you see the amount of references to the comic books in this, he's a fucking proper nerd. Gun, I don't give a shit about Gun going. With Gun going, hopefully they can let go of the one biggest cancer that is in the MCU, and that is the relentless jokes that just kept flying. And one thing I loved about this film is they were very light on the jokes, very light, and that's like always the biggest contention of cringe in these films is the constant use of humor. Whereas here they kept it very sparing, and it needed to be so.
I want to say Sam Raimi is like he's in that same sort of category as George Lucas, Ridley Scott, Steven Spielberg. He's has been. You know what I mean? Honestly, watching, I was almost very happy to know that he was going to be making Doctor Strange too. But after watching, I thought to myself, mate, you bring nothing new to the table, and if anything, you're giving me member berries of what you could do, but nothing new at the same time. So I'm kind of glad that he's not. If he isn't part of it, that's a good thing too. Because honestly, we do need new blood like Coogler, who's actually made his name really in stuff like this. In the first Creed movie, Chloe Zhao, is she the one who made Eternals?
Uh, yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. Well, there's nothing.
I think it just it look it depends. There they have become cookie cutter. I mean, they've been cookie cutter for a long time. It was the Russos that broke the cookie cutter stuff with Infinity War, and well, they kind of went back to the well with a lot of the humor in Infinity War in Endgame, but Infinity War kind of broke the that constant need for humor type thing, and they took the matter serious.
I thought there was humor in Infinity War, but I
There
think it was
was,
done
there was,
different.
but when shit got real, it got real and it stayed real. It didn't try to interject jokes like in literally every other MCU film. And they took the subject matter very seriously. I mean, the beautiful ending. Sadly, they went back to the world too much in Endgame. So it's not the directors that I'm worried about. But it's the influence of the Disney stamp on things that I don't want. Sorry, I've just eaten, so I'm getting like a lot of burping. It's a Disney stamp that needs to go away from the MCU because, as you can see, it's been all over Phase Four, and it's Phase Four. They just went back to what Disney knows best, and that's just make absolute pitiful garbage for the most part. And I hope we don't get that.
Just regarding Lowdown, Infinity War was not the only time the bad guy won. I think he means won with a W, and he lost. The bad guy actually won. First time I believe was in Civil War with Baron Zemo just splitting the Avengers up. I believe especially
Yes,
Tony
yeah, he
Stark and
won.
Steve
He did
Rogers.
win. He
Yeah,
got his job done in the end because he split the Avengers up.
and the heroes. Yeah, I love seeing the bad guy win. We don't get enough of that, in my opinion.
Yeah.
I think bad guy winning is a good thing.
And
But just
also,
yeah, go on.
the only reason that Talokans lost the war is because Namor yielded. If he hadn't, they would have slaughtered the Wakandans. They were on their knees.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
yeah. So I still think it would have been nice that he'd yielded, but Wakanda would have lost the war and kind of set up the third film. But it doesn't matter. Where it went afterwards was fucking beautiful. So um, yeah, we still got
So,
a good
so
outcome.
So one of the people's things they're complaining about, and to a degree, it is a logical complaint. But Riri Williams being like the person the CIA are going, well, I mean, maybe not necessarily going to personally, but are using their information to create technology that would find vibranium outside of Wakanda. Now, the point is, somebody mentioned this, and this was a valid point. I think I got this from Angry Joe. That even if they did kidnap Riri Williams, the CIA, the Americans, they've still got the technology, to find vibranium without her. It's not like she's the only person who knows how to make this shit. I mean, she might have had the brains for it, but it would have taken a variety of other people to make the equipment used to find the vibranium. So it wasn't just down to her, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
So obviously she would have been the catalyst to it, and it would have been important to knock her off and stuff. What do you think of her overall in this film? And we think it was a good introduction to her. Like, was it? Did we get too much of her too soon? Like, she's already in the fucking Iron Man suit by the end of the movie and all of that. Even in the beginning of the movie.
I just felt like she was literally just a forced introduction to kind of get the character into the MCU. I don't think she was necessary to the film at all. She didn't bring anything, but she didn't derail the film too much. It was just pretty much kind of in line with Iron Man's origins to a degree. But we could have definitely done without her, and her being the driving force behind the plots. It didn't need to be. It could have been like, the fucking CIA being the plot device. But I suppose you need it because it's like, oh no, we're going to protect the kid, and then that being the kind of basis for war and all this kind of stuff. It's just like, it is what it is.
So we also found out that Everett and Val are a formerly married couple. That was a bit of a new one.
Yeah,
That I don't know where we got that from, but interesting enough. It's good to see Val in this because I think now with William Hurt now leaving her, she's definitely going to step up and take over her role. I know Harrison Ford's coming in apparently as Thunderbolt Ross. I think having this guy in his 80s play this role is a bit of a bad move in my opinion, but
yeah,
fair enough. But I think Val's going to be taking the brunt of it when it comes to being that necessary evil, that sort of, I wouldn't even say necessarily grey. She's definitely more on the darker side of grey. Sort of character who wants to get some stuff done for the government, superheroes for hire,
yeah.
all of
You
this sort
see,
of shit.
she's the CIA of the MCU, and that would just go in and wreck shit to get what her country wants, kind of thing. That's her character. I'll say, like, I preferred her performance in this. Like, prior to that, she was very hammed up, and I found it a waste of Julia Louis-Dreyfus. But in this one, she was really good. Like just a great performance. Again,
Mm.
Coogler just getting the best out of people. So yeah, I mean, it is going to be interesting. Again, like, this film does definitely set up a few other things with like Thunderbolts, and there's like a Wakanda spin-off show coming, and obviously you got Ironheart and other little fucking bits that I can't remember coming.
Well,
So it plants the seeds in with that.
well, Dane Guerrero, who plays Okoye, there were rumors about her possibly getting her own spin-off show.
Yes, with
A spin-off
like,
show.
I think like the whatever the name of that suit was, I think that's what they're gonna call the show. They just didn't want to announce it until the show comes out, because I
What
think
did
there was a comic book based on that. But in the comic book, if I remember correctly, those women steal those suits and they go after kind of like, they go around killing chiefs that are like, imprisoning and raping Wakandan women. I don't think they're going to go down that route with this one. So it'll be interesting to see what they do with them in this kind of show, because that's why you had like the because like you had like the lesbian couple in this one as well, who are, again, they're in the comics She-Hulks, because they're going to be in the series. So Michaela Cole, who played the one with the daggers, is clearly going to be in the spin-off series. And by the way,
Yeah.
I'd like to say, of all the spin-off series, Okoye getting one is fucking spot on. But for the love of God, get a good serious director to do this show. Don't make it as dumb as like She-Hulk or any of that kind of stuff. Just make it really fucking good.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know how they're gonna. I don't know how they're gonna do it. I mean, she's a guard. She's not necessarily like an attacker, if you know what I mean. She's a defender.
Well, I don't know
So
if they're going to set it on because I mean, look, the way that the film went with the Queen dying and Buckle kind of being the king, it kind of leaves things easier to film in Wakanda because Shuri won't be there and that, so you could just have like Buckle in the series as well. It'll be interesting to see. I don't know what they're going to do with it, but it'll be interesting. Will the Talakans be in this show as well? I don't know.
I would like to see a bounce off other characters. One of the things I mentioned about previous MCU series was that we didn't get enough crossover. Obviously, we got an abundance of that in the She-Hulk series, but I would like to see a bit more of that. You know, maybe her, bumping into Bucky Barnes and checking on his arm. Something along those lines. Something along those lines. Maybe giving Sam Wilson a new shield, or I don't know, a shield that goes with the fact that he's this new Falcon, Captain America, and all of that. So, but anyways, yeah. So, what do you think of some of the action scenes we got in this movie? Because we've got quite a few.
Yeah, I thought the fight between Namor and Black Panther were fantastic. I thought that was a really good fight. It's really, really brutal as well. Like claws, explosions, spears, and all this kind of shit. I thought it was fucking really great. The Okoye with Atuma fights were really good. I thought those were great. The overall the wars I found disappointing. The two battles I found them a little bit lackluster, if I'm being honest. Like for a war to be so like kind of centralized and a little bit like not as what's the word, like furious as it should have been. But for the most part, I thought the action it was way better than the first one. That's for sure. Yourself?
I thought the action was good, but I like some of the horror elements of this because, like, in the first scene on that ship, where those CIA agents are hunting for and like initially we get, we're getting some like I'm getting, it's starting to remind me of the Abyss a little bit, where these deep sea divers they go down there and then like they're checking on what's going on, and one of them looks around and all of a sudden her partner is gone. And then she shits herself, and then she's gone, and all of that. And then next, they all pop up above the surface, and then they're singing their songs and serenading everyone to just walk off the boat. I mean, the Atlanteans have got a lot to answer for. They killed a lot of people. I mean, they killed a lot of CIA agents who initially didn't know about them, and they never even tried to. I mean, granted, I know they're usually the bad guy, but they didn't even try to talk to them in the first place. They just killed them. What I mean? And
they saw a threat that they saw a threat that they haven't seen since colonial times, and they just took them out. They didn't even hesitate. So but yeah, they have a lot to answer for.
Yeah, and then obviously what they did in Wakanda as well. I mean, they killed a lot of people in Wakanda. Like taking out their ship. I mean, they were the aggressors, as well. So. But I did like some of those scenes. I thought they were very well shot. The way they made Namor fly around was beautiful. He looked menacing. He looked tough. He looked like he could take care of business, and it was really great. But just seeing also like Okoye like fighting with a spear, just being this one man army at one point, just taking everyone out. But like there's one thing I thought was going to get answered at one point, but didn't, was the fact that these Atlanteans or whatever the fuck they're called, they got stabbed to shit, and then they just got up and ran away, and that never really got addressed.
Well, it's exactly how Shuri survived as well. The flower that is the flower that they consumed that created them is clearly has healing abilities.
Oh, I see. That
Yeah,
wasn't really well explained, in my
yeah.
opinion.
That's why, like, even when the Wakandas were slaughtering them in the wars, they was just kept coming. They were just healing off and coming. You know, you never really saw like the Atlanteans die. Though that being said, two of them got shot and killed by that agent. So
Well, she
I,
slowed them down, but she was running away onto the helicopter, so we never knew if they
no, no, not that one.
survived.
The one that got shot by oh, I forgot the name of the actress's name in the show, but it's Lupita Nyong'o, the actress. When she saves Shuri and Riri, and she shoots and kills two of the Talokans. Remember when then Namor arrives and is like, "Oh,"
Okay,
and
yeah,
puts her
yeah.
to sleep. So yeah, I don't know why some are able to heal and some aren't. Maybe the older ones are. I had no
And
idea actually. That's a good
and
point.
and the one discrepancy as well, like, well, there's a couple. There was one time when we saw Riri Williams in a college, and then the camera cuts away, and then she's got like two braids of hair there. Camera comes back, and she's only got one braid of hair there. I noticed that instantly. Stuff like that pisses me off. When, like, for fuck's sake, you guys should know. But
Continuity, yeah,
yeah, all of that. And secondly, like, they Namor mentioned when it came to showing Shuri her city, that he has a suit. That's why they said, if it wasn't for the suit, then the pressure would kill her. But when they escaped, there was no fucking suit. They were just hanging on to the side of that fucking boat.
because he'd
They
taken them
weren't.
back to the cenote place. So they'd left the city, and
Oh
that's why
yes,
she
yes,
was
yes,
back at the
yeah, yeah,
cenote with
yeah,
Riri,
yeah.
where it
Oh
wasn't
my
that
bad.
deep
Yeah,
there.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Fair enough. Fair enough. Fair enough.
yeah. They just
Yeah,
didn't show her returning.
yeah, yeah. Fair
Uh,
enough. Fair enough. See, so, yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Then I've got nothing to say. Nothing to say on that. But I'm sure there are other like
Oh, there's going to
continuity
be plot
errors.
holes here and there. Yeah, yeah.
But
We're still fresh. Have to watch it again.
yeah,
Prefer you?
yeah, for sure. Now, we have noticed as well, because that there are a lot of people out there in YouTube land who have a massive problem with this movie. They have an issue with this film because the film has black people in it, and the film has not only black people but specifically black women in it. 4 to 5 black leads, if you include Shuri, the Queen, the girlfriend, the bodyguard, Riri Williams. I mean, there's a lot of female black leads in this, and because of the fandom menace out there in this world who like to get clickbait videos of being enraged over of non-issues of people existing. They are upset with this movie. Now, in the past, they've complained about films having really terrible critic scores but good user scores, saying that the critics don't know shit. But the critics and the users for Black Panther: Wakanda Forever have both loved this movie. So the only problem they have is themselves having the problem with this film, because honestly, there's nothing wrong in having black female leads. We are talking about an African fucking society, for fuck's sake.
Yeah, exactly.
What do you expect there to be, like, people from South Africa joining in so you can have some representation? You know, um, if you're worried about not enough black, so white male people in the film, then you have the problem, because as I've always said, someone like myself, who looks the way I do, yeah, I hardly see people of myself in so many various types of films, but I don't genuinely care. I genuinely don't. But certain people do care when they see other demographics in their films, and maybe not themselves, because usually they're used to seeing themselves in everything. They're used to seeing themselves as the last fucking samurai, for fuck's sake. You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
Exactly.
Yeah, so so
There's
in the
gonna
way you
be
get, yeah,
yeah, there's gonna be like your standard idiots who are either just so far down the rabbit hole that they have to clickbait for some reason. So they're gonna find something to pick apart at this. They can't just see this as a film. They have to go down the kind of let's pick out the wokeness of it, and it's just like, well, what wokeness? It's set in Africa, It's fucking. What do you expect? I'm sorry. Did you want more colonizers in the fucking film? Just to kind of thing. And you got the white people in this anyway. There's plenty of them in
yeah,
America where they go to. So but yeah, people will find something to complain. They can't just look at this like, She-Hulk. There's plenty of things to complain about in She-Hulk, and regardless what some idiots will tell you about, oh well, you're the person this film was targeting. It's like, no, because I can logically pick apart something that's just badly written and badly made. But in this one, if you're going after it, then you really are the audience that She-Hulk was targeting. Yeah, those kind of trolls that are just never happy with women in any kind of role, because there is nothing to really pick apart about this. It's really well done, and it's just an afterthought. It just occurred to us afterwards that, oh fucking hell, the racists are going to find something to complain about with this. But it's like just ignore them anyway, and just don't let them be the main voice of this film.
And you have to understand how disingenuous these people are, because they tend to complain about the same, saying Nerdodic, or how the fuck you say his name, the guy with the glasses and the neck beard.
Yeah, the racist prick. Yeah,
he tends to always complain about the MCU, calling it the MCU all the fucking time. That's his go-to. But the guy, he saw Thor: Love and Thunder on the opening fucking day. He has a real issue with all of this shit, but he watches it religiously. If you know this is no longer your cup of tea, the same way wrestling stopped being my cup of tea, then stop fucking watching it. But they're so disingenuous, and they need those fucking clicks, because it's not really about not liking it anymore and moving on. It's just about hating, and feeding off that hate and making money off that hate, because that's who they are now. They fucking hate.
Yeah,
grifting.
They're
haters.
Audience. Yeah,
they're haters, because deep down, something like Black Panther, Wakanda Forever is a godsend for these motherfuckers. I mean, it really is. They're thinking, yeah, we're gonna get proper racist tonight. I mean, we're gonna give you all those buzzwords, and I mean, we're gonna dance around the issues and say certain things, and maybe almost say that thing without actually saying that thing, because that's who we are. We're the fandom menace and all of that sort of stuff. This is what people expect from us. They expect us to hate this because it's got black women in it. I mean, that's what they do. That's what they genuinely do, and it's just not even new anymore. I'm surprised they still get as many clicks as they do, and I'm very happy that this film has surpassed expectations. It's really, it's actually refreshing to get some good MCU stuff. It really is. It really is.
Because we've only had Werewolf by Night was really good, but like to be fair, like most of the films, I say most of the films, I liked, obviously Spider-Man No Way Home. I enjoyed Shang-Chi apart from the third act. Eternals, when I first watched it, I enjoyed it, but it's very diminishing returns upon second viewing. Doctor Strange is the same. I loved it when I first saw it. Second viewings, I was like, well, the multiverse aspect of it is really shit. But the horror part of it, I still love. I think it's a visual masterpiece for what it does in that. Black Widow, which kicked off the Phase 4, was hot garbage. But Wakanda Forever has been brilliant. And the TV shows are half good, half shit.
For Love and Thunder, how can you forget that?
Oh god, yeah. Oh god, I completely forgot about that pile of crap, which is the worst of the fucking worst.
Now,
it's the worst MCU film to date.
Now we do think that Phase 4 has not been that great, but we're never going to hate on something because black woman's in the film. That's not a reason to hate something. I mean? And once again, there were several black ladies in this movie, and we fucking loved it. So if a film has a multicultural cast and it ends up being crap like Eternals, then we're gonna say it's crap, because it is fucking crap, regardless of it ticking certain boxes. We just didn't like it. But at the same time, when you make a very good deep film like Wakanda Forever, which also ticks several boxes, but at the same time, but those also that Disney obviously doing a lesbian couple at the end, just to say, yeah, look, we're doing that too.
And in their own Disney way of where we can cut this out if we go to China with it.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You know what I mean? But so regardless of that, they still made a film that race wasn't an issue, and we all fucking loved it. But because race is theoretically isn't an issue, but it's about African people in a film set in fucking Africa, people are still going to hate it because it just somehow it just pisses them off because they don't see their demographic in it.
Yeah,
And
exactly.
you know, so
Yeah,
how
and
dare
we'll
they?
end it.
How
We'll end it. Yeah, we'll end it on that.
yeah.
Because
We haven't
I'm
marked it by
tired.
the way. Let's give it a
Oh
quick
yeah,
mark.
yeah. Oh hey Percy. Hello from Brazil. Bon dia.
Yeah. Congratulations on getting a new president. In Lula.
Lula,
Lula forever. You know what I
Lula
mean?
forever.
Yeah. Yeah,
You
you like
liked
Wakanda
Wakanda
for
Forever. Fantastic. Good to
yeah,
hear. Yeah,
we
we're just coming to the end of our stream, and I stopped by because you're talking about the film. Well, we've just finished talking about the film, and we're about to give our ratings and end it there. Sam, what would you give the film out of 10?
I'm giving it a solid 9, dude. I uh I wrote on somebody else's YouTube review that this was probably the best thing since Spider-Man No Way Home. Within Phase 4, I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wanted to tear up. I was choking up. This was great. By the way, sign up to that. That's our YouTube channel. You can see all of our stuff. You know, we love Brazilian people as well. Viva la Brazil. You know, we love your women in your asses and all that.
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I'd give this a 9 out of 10 as well. I thought it was spectacular. And I was going to give it an 8 because like the war part was disappointing, but I thought, you know what, overall the message and the performances were spectacular.
Mad Max 2,
Mad
The
Max,
Road Warrior.
yeah, Mad
Yeah, Mad Max
Max.
2. Yeah, man. You're talking to a couple of middle-aged motherfuckers, man.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we're old, man. We
Yeah,
remember
we're all, we
Mad
know,
Max.
yeah, we do. Yeah, and that same actor was in fucking Commando. You know what I mean? You know,
That's right.
let off some steam, Bennett. You know
Yeah,
what I
you
mean?
got to let off some Steve Bennett.
Yeah. Yes. So yeah, what's next now is we're gonna be waiting several months. Obviously, we're gonna be getting the what I know you're looking forward to is the Christmas special
Oh yeah,
for
can't wait for that.
Guardians of the Galaxy. But after that, we're getting Phase 5, the Kang Dynasty. You know what I mean? And it's not the Kang Dynasty, but we're getting Ant-Man WrestleMania, and with
Yeah.
Kang the Conqueror, with Kang the Conqueror. It weighed
Is
350
that kicking
pounds.
off phase 5 or is that ending phase 4?
Well, apparently this is ending Phase 4. I
Wakanda
mean,
Forever is the end of phase
yeah.
4.
Well, I mean, it's weird in a way because you do have the Christmas special. However, how I don't know how people will look at that as Phase 4 or Phase 5. It's
Yeah.
weird. It's that limbo, but in its own unique thing, which probably can be watched every year. But nevertheless, what I've heard is that Ant-Man 3 is going to be the beginning of Phase
Oh, right.
5.
Okay.
So and finally get Kang in there. Maybe we get some fucking time traveling shenanigans and stuff like that. We did see Kang theoretically in Loki, but this time we're getting the proper Kang.
Yeah, the proper
So
Kang. So it'll be good to see.
yeah,
So
so
yeah, cool. All right.
thank you, Ginge, for joining us, and
Thank
thank you
you.
everyone else out there. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe to NerdTube, the greatest YouTube channel you never heard of. Take care, bye bye, and once again, Wakanda forever. See you now.